My name's Bruce Badgley. My co-host to my right and your left is Andrew Cohen from GetRecruitedConsulting.com. Andrew, hey, week 2, why don't you introduce our very special guest we've got for this edition?
That'd be great. Thanks, Badge. Coach Pete Rossamondo is from UNC Charlotte. That's a Division I football program. He's the offensive line coach. He's also been at Vanderbilt as the offensive line coach, Rutgers University as the offensive line coach. He was also the head coach at the FCS level at Central Connecticut and also at New Haven, Connecticut at the D2 level. But he's always been successful. I've known him almost 20 years. He's a great guy, really good teacher, really good coach, really good family guy. So I'm quite excited to have him on the show, and I think we're definitely honored to have him on the show. So thanks a lot, Coach.
Bruce, Andrew, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. It's a wild ride right now. As you can see, I'm in my car. I'm on the road recruiting, so it's a perfect segue into our segment here, right? I'm actually headed on the way to do a home visit with a gentleman that's coming up on our campus this weekend. So it's we're right in the thick of it once again after a 2-year hiatus of being on the road.
Yeah, talk a little bit about UNC Charlotte, Coach, and some of the things that Charlotte can offer players who really want to go to the next level.
So UNC Charlotte, we're an FBS school. We play in right now we're in Conference USA. We're moving in 2023 to the American Conference with schools like Temple and SMU and Tulsa and schools like that. And so we're going to move into that realm. We're a school, a really strong school in school of business, school of engineering, all the pre-professional studies. We have, physical therapy and occupational therapy and all your pre-med, pre-law, pre-dental, all those that you would want in your undergraduate degree. Great campus. We're just north of the city of Charlotte. Great location. I always tell recruits we're 5 minutes from uptown Charlotte, which I don't know why we're in North Carolina. We call it uptown instead of downtown, but for whatever reason, I digress. And we are about 10 minutes from country type living in pretty much every other direction that you drive in. So it's a really unique situation, great setting for college football. It's a really young program. We've only been a football program for 9 years, coming in the FCS level for 3 years and then moving up quickly to the FBS level. But Charlotte's a great opportunity for, a lot of colleges and universities in the area. Great place. But we are in 85 scholarship realm, as far as that goes. And we probably have a roster of about 115 total. League rules 117, but we're usually right around 115. That's pretty much about Charlotte, what we're all about.
Wow, really interesting. So the topic this week is really about camps and, what kids should be doing, some of the do's and don'ts. Coach, what is, the main reason, in your opinion, of why guys should be attending camps, and when should they start attending camps?
I'm sorry, you asking that question for Coach
Ross? For Pete.
Sorry, Coach Rossamondo. I think we might have lost connection.
You still there, Pete?
Yes. Yeah, I'm here. You got me?
Okay. Yeah, we got you.
Like I said, I think ninth grade's a good time to start, freshman year. Get out, at least to get the lay of the land of what camps are all about and how they're operated, so that when you are a sophomore, junior, you have a better feeling for what you're going to get when you arrive on campus to go to camps, as far as what the testing looks like, what the drills look like, how they're going to be evaluating you, all those types of things, to give you kind of a leg up on some other people that maybe are just showing up their junior or senior year.
How about you, Andrew?
I think those are all good points. I also feel it's good. It's a good experience, like he's saying. It's kind of why you scrimmage before you play games. It's an opportunity to get used to that, and also to judge where you are. Where are you compared to the other kids? I think that's really important as well. Are you as big? Are you as fast? Are you as strong? All those kinds of things. So there's a lot of great reasons to go to camp, and also you should, we hope you're having fun. It should be a fun thing to do, and you like to compete. So.
Yeah. And something just an unscripted question here too, when these kids start to find out, what they need improvement on. I mean, and I'll start with you, Pete. What are your recommendations on whether or not a kid or a family should invest on even getting a personal trainer to try and improve their, performance?
I think most kids nowadays are really using those on a pretty regular basis, and I think they're great. And is the trainer preparing you for the camps, or is the trainer preparing you to become a better football player? Because in the end, really what matters is what you put on tape and what a coach is watching on the tape. So if you're just going to run a better 40, and I think all that's important because that's the way you kind of get on the board. But I really believe that if you're going to hire a trainer, make sure he's making you a better football player, because in the end, that's what we're recruiting. We're recruiting football players. We're not recruiting track stars. We're not recruiting weightlifters. We're trying to recruit football players that are going to give us the best chance to win in a very competitive level of college football.
Andrew?
So, to interact with that, though, I agree with what Coach is saying, but let's be realistic here. If you don't meet the numbers, then a lot of schools at their camp, they're not going to recruit you unless you do show up at their camp or a camp that they're attending and you perform well. So I think that a trainer should have the ability to work on your preparation for the camp, but the big picture is so you can become a better football player. But if they're not running a solid 40 or 5-10-5, 3-cone agility and vertical and those kinds of things, then, they can go from being a guy they like to now they're not going to take them. But as important as anything when they attend these camps is how do they compete? Are they coachable? Do they listen? Are they a leader? Do they finish drills? I think the good colleges are looking at those things, and that as much as anything else will determine if they're going to take a kid or not. Would you agree with that, Coach?
I 100%. I just, like I said, those numbers, the testing numbers are going to get you on the board. They're going to get you to be recruitable, whether it's height, weight, 40 time, 5-10-5, whatever it is, vertical, that's going to get you on the board. But in the end, to be a take at our level, you still have to be able to perform on the field. And like Coach said, those drills, the opportunity to watch you interact with other people, the opportunity to watch body language in person, and really to see if you enjoy playing the game of football or at least, running drills that are for football, that really means something to us as far as the guys we're going to be recruiting.
Our next question was, how do you pick a camp? But I'm going to phrase that in two ways. As a coach who's looking for players, how do you pick a camp? And the second part of the question is, if you're a player, how do you pick a camp, Pete?
I think if you're a player, the one thing I think you have to try to figure out is where are the most coaches going to be? Because we do travel around and go to other campuses and other camps. So if you have a feeling there's going to be 100 different colleges at a specific camp, well, that's a great place to go, because everyone is going to be getting your testing numbers. They're going to be getting your measurables. They're going to be watching you perform in all of in some cases, we even film the individual sessions, and you get a chance to get in front of a bunch of different coaches at all different levels. I think that should be really important on where you pick, where you go to camp, especially if you're what we call a marginal guy, a guy that maybe is a Division I player, but maybe falls to an FCS level or maybe falls to a Division II level. Really it's really where you fit in that mold. If you're a bona fide Power 5 guy, then those are the camps you should be going to, because that's where you're going to meet the coaches and get a chance to visit their facilities. But if you're a marginal guy that may not be a Power 5 guy, maybe a group of 5 like Charlotte, or maybe a FCS like Villanova or Delaware or Elon or some of those places, then you want to go where there's going to be the most coaches there. They're going to get their eyes on you and have the ability to interact with them, get a chance to meet maybe the recruiter in that area, and really start to develop a relationship.
Andrew?
Yeah, so from my perspective, obviously I run Get Recruited Consulting, and we have a showcase coming up December 7th in Scranton, at Riverfront. And we have over 60 colleges confirmed. So I think Coach Rossamondo is 100% right. There's really 2 options. So you go to a camp that has a lot of colleges there, so you're going to get networked by a lot of schools. And make sure, though, that you're doing drills in front of the coaches, that you're doing competition. We'll have a college fair. I think that's so important, so they can interact with the coaches. They can give their transcripts to the coaches. So they're getting developed, but most importantly, they're getting seen by the college coaches. And then the other types, though, if, in my opinion, if you're going to go to especially the Division I level, but even Division II, Division III, if you're going to go to UNC Charlotte's camp, okay, I believe that, you'd want to get some type of feedback that they have real interest in you. And I'm not saying that for UNC Charlotte, it's for any camp. I think if you're going to go and there's only going to be UNC Charlotte there, it would be beneficial that someone could reach out and find out if they have real interest. Now, I'm sure at coaches' camps, they probably have a lot of other schools there. And those are great camps to attend, and they could be serviceable to players of all different levels.
Yeah. And when you get in these camps then too, obviously, Pete, you talked about the fact of you got to put it out on film, but with all these kids that are interacting in these particular camps, what are some of the things to you when you go to these camps that you absolutely are looking for, with all things being equal, what is going to make a kid stand out for you versus some other player?
All things being.
Can you hear him?
Situations.
There he goes.
What is going to separate you is probably the way you interact with coaches. And I think one of the things that really kids miss out on is the communication prior to the camp starting, to make sure that that they're going to be there. I've missed out on so many young guys and prospects at camps because they reach out after and say, "Hey, coach, I saw you were at XY camp. Did you get a chance to look at my stuff or watch me participate?" And by that time, we've already moved on.
We didn't see it, and we didn't, we forgot about who that guy was. So I think that's a really a huge part when you're going to these camps, is to communicate with some of the schools that you're interested in and make sure they know you're going to be there, and maybe even give them a place where you want to meet them and say hello before the camp begins, just so we can get an eye on you. But I think number one, that separates you. But obviously, the second thing is your ability to perform in those drills. I mean, that's obviously what's going to get our eye on you and get us to write down whatever number you're wearing and get us a chance to get to watching some of the one-on-one drills and those types of things.
Yeah, Andrew, talk a little bit about how your camps kind of run that way too, right?
Yeah, so I mean, the obvious, like Coach said, is the guys that test very well, they're going to stand out, and that's important. But so we've been telling not only our clients, but all the families that we're calling in preparation for the camp, that they have to be competitive. They have to win every drill or attempt to win every drill. And I think that really stands out. And then being able to listen to the coaches and do what they ask you to do, that's coachability. We used to call it, the guy was a drill killer, meaning he could screw up a drill, he'd get in the way and do the wrong thing, and it would actually screw everything up. So you want kids to be able to listen and carry through. But right on also with what he said, we have 60 plus colleges coming, and we tell all of the guys there, first of all, invite anyone you want, but also reach out in advance and text or email or direct message them on Twitter, the colleges that you're interested in. Say who you are, tell them that you're going to be at the showcase and tell them you'd like to meet them as well. And then we're sending it 3 times at least, all the information of the student athletes to not only the schools at the showcase, but another 300 schools. So we want these kids to get recruited. And if the college isn't there, oh well, but at least they'll get a copy of the information, and then we'll do it again when the showcase is over. But it's very important, that the student athlete at some point shakes the hand of the coach if he's interested in UNC Charlotte. Hey, Coach Rossamondo, how you doing? Shake his hand, look him in the eye, and he'll remember that. But if you don't reach out to him at any point, or you just say, hey, Coach, he's not going to remember you. And I think that is important. So.
Do you, Pete, do you like players to just come up to you and say hi? I mean, or,
Sure.
To what Andrew said, are you approachable at these camps? Do you like these kids to say, hey, Coach Rossamondo, I'm really interested in Charlotte, take a look at me? Do you like that aggressive approach from kids, or do you like them to kind of fall in line with everything that's going on?
No, I love it. I want them to reach out. I want them to, in the end, this is a people business. You want to get to know people and personalities, and you want to see that the person takes enough pride in himself, and he wants to reach out. I learned from Andrew a long time ago. Be honest. Be brutally honest with kids, and I'll tell the kids exactly what I think, whether I think they're Charlotte, up to that level, or I'll need to recommend them to someone at a lower level school to get them recommended. But I'll remember them. Hey, I remember this guy from the showcase. He was wearing the blue cleats, and he came up and shook my hand. And those are the guys you want to recommend to other schools. And not only will Charlotte help you, but I know hundreds of coaches out there that have opportunities for kids that can help them.
And along those lines, Pete, I'm guessing now, what have you coached now in college? 25 years or so? Around there? Maybe more?
This will be 28 this year.
28. So Pete and I coached at different schools, sometimes in competition with one another, and sometimes there was no competition. He was at a higher level or whatever it might be. But my point is, we always communicated, and we would help each other, because in turn that would help Pete. I wanted to help Coach Rossamondo. He wanted to help me. And then in the big picture, we wanted to help the student athlete. So what I'm really getting at is, you never know who's watching. So if Coach Rossamondo likes a student athlete and he's at UNC, but he's not quite a UNC guy, and he's a Division II guy, well, Coach Rossamondo has a lot of ties at New Haven. He might call up New Haven, where he was the head coach, and give them the player. But we're always doing that. We're doing it to our friends. We're doing it, or you never know. Maybe Coach Rossamondo is the head coach at a school down the road, the next thing you know, and now he's going to remember that kid. So you never know who's watching you, when they're watching you, or who they know. So hey, just don't place any doubt. Whenever you're doing anything, you do it right, and you do it at full speed.
And, to that point, you guys touched on it a little bit, but what are some of the follow-ups, Pete, that you like to see from players, that you've met at these camps, in the days and weeks afterwards?
Well, I think some of them, if we feel like they live, they're up to our potential, we'll invite them to campus. We'll try to get them to tour campus and see the facilities. Some of them, it's as simple as an email or a direct message through Twitter to say, hey, Coach, it was great to meet you. Even if we're not going to recruit them, it's just to me, it's really cool when a kid reaches out and acts like an adult and says, hey, Coach, great to meet you. I'm not sure if I fit in your recruiting plan, but, hopefully that someday we'll touch base again. I just like when guys do that and they reach back out to you. Even if you're not going to recruit them, it's great to do that. And again, like Andrew said, it keeps their name fresh in your mind when you talk to other people that maybe have other opportunities for them.
Yeah, Andrew?
Yeah, for my end, the follow-up is really huge. So when you leave a camp, whatever camp, like let's just say for ours, for instance, and you have 10 schools, you met the coach, you had the college fair, you get to shake his hand, give him your transcript, you think it's a good fit, and now you want to reach out. You want to find out where you really stand. That's where we make our headway. I can call the coaches for our clients, because the reality is I have those relationships. That's why we get so many colleges at our functions. But, none of us want to get bad news, but I'd rather get the bad news sooner rather than later. And if you get the good news, that's awesome. But if they don't give you a good response that you wanted to hear, at least you know, and you can move forward and focus on the right schools for you. And there's a place for everyone, but you want to find the right fit academically, athletically, and socially. So, none of us like to hear no, but at least now instead of 10 schools, it's down to 9, and now you can focus on the right schools. So that's my focus.
Yeah. Pete, you talked a little bit about the fact that you're, in the throes of recruiting now. Talk a little bit about what your schedule is like in the upcoming weeks and months.
Well, this week, next week, busy, on the road, visiting high schools again for the first time since January 2020. So it's really been great to get out and see coaches again and really see student athletes, look them in the eye. We're pretty much done for 2022, so we're really out there looking for 2023s and 2024s, and just getting an opportunity to get transcripts and visit with coaches. But and then we do home visits at night over the next 2 weeks while we're still in a contact period with guys that are visiting our campus over the next couple weekends. So we get a chance to meet with families and extended families most times, and just get a chance to chop it up with them a little bit before they get on campus for their official visit. And, next 2 weekends for us are huge. We have big official visit weekend, first time in 2 years that we're doing it. Really excited about it, getting these guys up on our campus again and getting a chance for us to get to know them on an even deeper level and spend time with our players and our team. And then after that, we go into a dead period for a little while. So it's mostly just phone calls and all phone calls really, and emails to coaches as we prospect for 23 and 24s. And then back on the road again in January, right after the convention. I think it's the 13th. We're back out on the road for 3 weeks until the February signing period. And again, it's just getting out, getting a chance to meet really 23s mostly, or some preferred walk-ons for us. 22s, and just getting a chance to meet coaches again and see them and get a chance to get face-to-face with them, which to me, the relationships with the coaches are really, really important. So that's what we're doing. And, I'll probably be in January, I'll probably be in 6 or 7 high schools a day. Right now I'm only doing 4 or 5 a day because it's really targeted on where we're going and who we're going to see.
And what area are you guys targeting for your recruits there at Charlotte?
So we are obviously going to be big in the state of North Carolina and northern South Carolina because they're essentially that's in-state for us essentially. And we recruit pretty much nationally, but we're mostly in the state of Georgia, state of Florida, state of South Carolina, the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and then into Pennsylvania. But anything north of that, we consider that spot recruiting. We'll just go up if we have a player that we have interest in and visit. But those are the areas that we're really focusing most of our efforts as far as where our coaches are visiting high schools and that sort of stuff. We also do Alabama, fair amount of recruiting in there.
Wow, really good. And I know, Andrew, obviously you've got the camp scheduled here in December. What's your camp schedule look like for the rest of the year?
So we got the one on Tuesday, the 7th, starts at 6 p.m. So we're really excited. We have an incredible list of college coaches from Division III, Division II, and also the FCS level, and it's still growing. And we got some great players coming as well. But our next, we have 3 in May. We have one officially set in Pittsburgh on May 8th, and that's going to be at Kiski Prep in Pittsburgh. And then we have 2 others. We're going to have one at Valley View High School with Coach George Awanitz. Mm-hmm. He actually played for me at Bucknell University. He's a great guy, great coach, and I'm excited what we can bring to everyone in that area and other people as well. And then we're also going to have one at Hamburg area. Okay. Another buddy of mine, their offensive coordinator there is also their athletic director. That's Aaron Menepace. And about 25 years ago, maybe a little more actually, But we were graduate assistants together at SUNY Stony Brook, and we've stayed in touch. He's a heck of a coach, heck of a person, just like George. So those dates will come out. They will be on our site. I mean, our site has great information, education. It has our camp information, and then obviously our information about how we help student athletes. So anyone can call me if that's okay, Badge. I'll just tell them that. I know they'll see it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll put that up on screen there so everybody sees it.
But it's 570-428-2872. We're always talking and helping people. And my website is www.getrecruitedconsulting.com. You know, give us a follow on Twitter. Get with a capital G __ recruited with a capital R. So excited about Tuesday. And then, when that's over, we start gearing up for the next one. So,
well, it was exciting having Pete on,
sure.
Pete Rossamondo for UNC Charlotte. Thank you very much for your taking some time out. Looks like it's getting dark
It does.
up there on the road. So about time to grab a hotel.
Right.
Hey, I just want to say thanks, Badge, doing a great job, and really thanks, Coach Rossamondo. I mean, he's on the road recruiting, going to kids' houses, going to high schools. That's really a kind thing to do, and that's who he is as a person. He wants to help the student athlete, and we're fortunate enough that he spent some time with us. So thank you very much, and we'll have another show coming up very shortly, and we'll tell you all about it. So give me a call, anyone that has recruiting questions. Love to talk to you and love to help out. Alrighty?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot,
guys.
Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ben.
All right, and that does it for this edition of C.F.B. Recruiting Weekly. We'll be back again next week, hopefully with another great coach like Pete Rossamondo from UNC Charlotte. Until next week, see you later, gang.